Hi and welcome along to AFTV News Daily, the early edition. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, even good evening. Anywhere you are in the world right now watching AFTV. It's the 1st of June, first day of the week, Monday, first day of the month, 1st of June, and counting it down, 17 days until Arsenal return against Manchester City. Really looking forward to that, although I won't get a chance to be there. It'll be behind closed doors, but looking forward to that game. We're going to be all over the coverage for that here on AFTV. Of course, football continuing at the moment over there in Germany in the Bundesliga. Yesterday, a massive win for Borussia Dortmund, slapping bottom side Paderborn by 6-1. This guy, Jadon Sancho, English player, remember, he is hot over there. He scored a hat-trick in the game, and then he took off his shirt to reveal that message there: justice for George Floyd. I'm sure you guys have all heard about what's been going on in America with George Floyd. He was the black guy who was brutally killed by the police over there, which sparked loads of riots and protests, not just in America, but right around the world. There was protests in Germany, there was protests here in the UK, all over the world against racism. And Jadon Sancho there revealing his shirt, asking for justice for George Floyd. He didn't actually get booked for that, but worth it to spread that sort of message. Marcus Thuram as well. He took to his knee after scoring a goal in Borussia Mönchengladbach's 4-1 win over Union Berlin. That's my team, Union Berlin, man. They've really been suffering. But 4-1 win there, and Marcus Thuram took to his knee. There was a lot of people yesterday taking to their knee again in protest of the brutal killing of George Floyd. And that was Marcus Thuram's celebration. And yeah, it's been an issue that's really touched a lot of people around the world, including people in football. I got asked loads of questions about it last night on the Q&A, and it's absolutely horrific, really is. Moving on with the football, over here in the UK, the Championship is going to be returning, which is great news if you're a Leeds United fan or you're a West Brom fan. Both of those teams were looking good for promotion up until when the whole coronavirus thing came in and halted all the games. And there was a lot of talk for quite a while that could be it for the Championship. People were like, well, what do you do with Leeds? Do they not get promoted? Do West Brom not get promoted? Leeds have been, they've been fighting so long to try and get back up into the top flight. They just missed out last year, and they were thinking to themselves, oh my God, not again. I've got a good friend of mine, Joe, he must have been beside himself. Well, the season will be returning on the 20th of June, same weekend as the Premier League. So good news for all football fans who support Championship clubs, unless Championship clubs are near the bottom and facing the possibility of relegation. But it's good to see that that's returning. And a lot of sport from today onwards, a lot of professional elite sport in the UK is returning. Same sort of strict regulations and rules as was being imposed on football. And of course, it's going to be all dependent upon the infection rate. But if they can keep the infection rate down, more and more sport will return. And that can only be good for the world of sport. Now, David Luiz, we all know that he's been heavily linked with a move away after the revelation that his contract wasn't, in fact, a 2-year contract with Arsenal. It was, in fact, a 1-year deal with an option to renew. And a lot of talk going around last week that Arsenal won't be renewing that contract at the end of the season. It's a very expensive one. He's on £120,000 a week, and the Arsenal at the end of the season would be getting rid of him. Well, quotes coming out yesterday from his agent, Kia Jarapchin, and this is what he said on the situation. He said, David will sit down with Arsenal before the season begins, have his conversations, and they will both decide if he will stay or not. That will come before the season starts. The chances are very high of Luiz being at Arsenal next season. There is no desire to leave, but again, we're going to live in a new normal. We will see what Arsenal's position will be, but I believe there is a wish from both sides for him to continue. So does look like there is a will, according to his agent, for David Luiz to remain at Arsenal. You know, I think a lot of fans were surprised when this news all broke last week. Started off the season very shakily, but under Mikel Arteta, he seemed to be the go-to centre back since Arteta's come in, and obviously it's going to be very important when we come back. I think a lot of it's going to depend on his performance from now till the end of the season. If he really impresses, then Arsenal will probably extend that contract for another year, but probably at a reduced rate, as I discussed yesterday. If he bombs out, then I think Arsenal will just definitely say, oh, you know what, let's just move him on, get the wages off the wage bill. But I think whatever happens, there's going to be a renegotiation of those wages come the end of the season if he was to stay. Now, we've been linked again today to Arkadiusz Milik of Napoli, the 26-year-old striker. I've spoken about the rumours linking us with Milik before. The rumours are today that Napoli are willing to drop their price. So originally they wanted around about 50 million. They said to we willing to drop their price to 40 to 45 million now, according to the Italian media. He scored 20 goals in the 2018-19 season, 12 in 22 games this season, but he's missed 9 games through injury. Now, Napoli are said to favour a deal to Arsenal if it comes down to it. They don't want to sell him to Juventus or another team who are interested in him. Interestingly, the clubs over there, and you know what, Arsenal can take a leaf out of this book. The clubs over in Italy now seem to be, we are not selling to Juventus. You know, we saw, you know, Inter Milan with the Icardi deal writing a clause in there saying that, you know, he can't be sold to Juventus. And now you see here Napoli saying, you know, well, we're willing to sell Milik, but not to Juventus. So it could see an opening for Arsenal. Of course, a lot of this will probably depend upon what happens with Aubameyang. If Aubameyang stays, there's no need for Milik. If Aubameyang goes, then Arsenal will be in the hunt for a striker. But again, he won't be cheap. He will not be cheap in this whole coronavirus thing. And this search for a striker is going to be very difficult. There's also Victor Osimhen. Again, I spoke about him a couple of days ago. Still a lot of talk about him. The Lille president, Lille, of course, the team that he plays for over there in France. The Lille president coming out yesterday and say that they've had multiple offers for Victor Osimhen. He said that they had a couple of offers also in January, which they turned down, but they've had multiple offers already for him. Of course, the French season has already finished. They value him at around about £50 million. There's no chance they're going to get that for him. I mean, Lille have been doing some great business. I mean, they bought this guy in from Belgian football for next to nothing and are looking to try to get 50 million for him. And why not? But I don't think they'll get that sort of fee with this coronavirus crisis going on. He is only 21, is very talented, 18 goals in 38 appearances, but I very much doubt that they'll be able to hit that 50 million mark that they're looking for him. But Arsenal said to be amongst those clubs that are very interested in him. Could they possibly be one of those clubs that have made an offer for him? The Lille president saying multiple offers, or is it just the Lille president talking it up in order to make sure he gets the maximum amount of money for it? We know that the French clubs are all, apart from PSG, in big trouble because the season ended early. So it's going to be interesting to see how that one pans out. And also linked today with a centre-back. He plays for Hellas Verona over there in Italy. And his name is Marash Kumbula. Kumbula is his name. He's an Albanian defender. Actually, I think he was born in Italy, but he plays for Albania. Parents are Albanian. And he's valued at around about 30 million euros. Has been having a really good season. Arsenal and Tottenham said to be amongst the two clubs right at the front of the queue, monitoring him according to reports in Italy. Very combative defender, good with the ball, and has been linked with a move to Arsenal. One of the many defenders that have been linked with a move to Arsenal. We'll have to see if that happens or not. Right, let's get into some of your comments today. What have you guys had to say? Javier said David Luiz such a waste of money. He has been on big wages. I don't know if he's been a waste of money. As I said, started off a bit shaky, but it's grown into his role at Arsenal and definitely seems to be a guy that Mikel Arteta likes. Clippy Skull says, let's not rush into making any decisions. Let's see this season out. And if during the remaining games of the season is comprised completely, then put the kids in and sell a lot of them. Come on, you Gunners. Yeah, I mean, a lot of players now, playing from now till the end of the season, I'm sure that, you know, Mikel Arteta is going to be looking on them. And, you know, a lot of them are playing for, I mean, David Luiz playing for his job right now. He's playing for his contract. So let's hope that will spur him on to play well. Billy Dalton says, it's stupid that Sancho got booked yesterday when he scored his one goal and celebrating, showing support to George Floyd. Yeah, it is the rules, unfortunately. Those are the rules. If you take your shirt off, you get booked. It's as simple as that. And that's right across the board. So you can't blame the referee for that. But I think it was a nice gesture by Sancho. Footballers often get accused of not being interested in anything. He's obviously is interested in what's going on there. And, you know, I applaud him for what he did. Billy also says, Robbie, today marks 1 year that the Arsenal legend Jose Antonio Reyes sadly died on June the 1st, 2019. He died in that car crash, of course. I mean, it was shocking. I can't believe that's a year already. Absolutely shocking when that happened. Reyes, of course, an invincible at Arsenal. Had a great footballing career, Sevilla, Valencia. You know, it was so sad to see what happened. And yeah, terrible. Alim says Luiz wants to stay good. He's a good backup centre half and a good inspiration towards Martinelli and the other young players. I think you know, you can definitely see that this guy has an impact in the dressing room. You know what I mean? He's always bantering with everyone. You can see that people like him, you know, at the club. Fowler94 says, why can't Arsenal buy players from our league like Dunk from Brighton? He's proven and ready to make the next step. I've said for quite a while I like Lewis Dunk. But he wouldn't be cheap though, it'd be very expensive. That's the thing about when you buy players from this league, they ain't cheap, you know. They tend to be a lot more money than players from abroad. So that's the reality of the situation. But Dunk's certainly a good player. Flo says, this guy's my boy, my Albanian brother. He's a gun centre-back. Juve and both Milan teams keeping tabs on him, and other European clubs. Arsenal need to act quickly. So their Flo is giving Kumbula his vote and would love to see him in Arsenal's team. Daniel says, Robbie, we talk about selling and letting go of our average players, but when they're about to leave, we make excuses for them to stay. We have a small mindset for a club like Arsenal. Let Luiz go. Okay. Listen, I think, as I said, I think he's playing for his deal, you know, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing that he's playing for his deal, because, you know, that means that we're going to get the best out of him from now till the end of the season. If not, maybe you're right, you know. About my blood clot says, Robbie, has Arsenal offered Aubameyang a new contract? There have been rumours that a new contract has been offered, but nothing yet confirmed. And George 21 says, Robbie, I saw AFTV posted on Instagram that Aubameyang has been offered a contract by L'Equipe. Is there anything in it? Again, it's rumours at the moment coming from L'Equipe. We reported it, we posted it saying that that's what they're reporting, but nothing confirmed yet. Aaron White says, hi, Don Robbie, what's your view on what Bergkamp said about Wenger after 2006, changed his tactics, played one up front and changed our style, and we have been in the decline since? Yeah, I think Dennis Bergkamp has a real point. It wasn't just that as well. Arsene Wenger went for a different type of player. He'd always had, you know, players like very combative, strong players, big players in his team like Patrick Vieira and Gilberto Silva and Sol Campbell. And then he changed it all around and went for very small, technically gifted players. And we really did lose our sort of battling edge. A lot of mistakes were made. He shouldn't really have just made those drastic changes, but a lot of that was due to him being hamstrung with the amount of money he had to spend as well. Leyman Lowe says, hey, Robbie, Luiz has played quite well so far, so maybe we should keep him, but we need to sell Mustafi quick. Milik is injury prone, so I think he shouldn't sign. Moussa Dembele would be better. I like Moussa Dembele. I agree with you on that. Moussa Dembele would be good, but in an ideal situation, we sign Aubameyang to a new contract. That, to me, would be the best thing to do. Master in the Art says, David Luiz has costed us 24 million for one season, including agent fees. What's wrong with Arsenal? Worse business tactics. Now, that's on the reports yesterday that David Luiz, obviously we paid 8 million for him. There's reports that we paid agent fees of 6 million. And that his wages then is a further 10 million, costing us 24 million for the season. Listen, I don't know about worse business. We're always, I mean, I know David Luiz is not a prime signing, but we're always saying, you know, spend the money, get out there, get these deals done. These are sort of deals that Wenger used to refuse to do. He used to refuse to do deals where agents got big amount of money. But if you want to get someone, and David Luiz is not one of these, by the way, but if you want to get some of those biggest signings, sometimes you've got to pay these agent fees. It's not right. It's terrible. But there's a lot of clubs, the top clubs in the Premier League, that pay even more fees than that for agents. So, but certainly a lot of money for David Luiz. I understand what you're saying. Time Travel says, hi, Robbie. Do you think we'll even see European football next season, given that preliminary rounds would have to be massively delayed and all travel restrictions around? Now, regarding the travel restrictions, I was reading this morning that the government might relax the quarantine restrictions for sporting teams. So, for instance, a football team has to come in and travel, or our teams have to go abroad and travel. They may not have to go through the strict 14-day quarantine restriction that's being imposed on everybody else. So that's one of the things that I've read. If that's true, and if that happens across the board with a lot of European countries, then maybe we might be able to get some of these European games played, but obviously behind closed doors. But certainly, you're right. It's going to have to be delayed. They're going to have to come up with a different system of how they play the Europa League and the Champions League. And maybe, I think it was Chris Hudson the other day who suggested it, that maybe you just make it for next season purely a knockout competition so that they can rattle through the games. That would be interesting to see if that happened instead of the normal league format. Junior Cobbler says, if Arsenal fans started protesting against Kroenke, like the way these protests go on in America, we will see some real change at the club. I think this is a bit more serious than the Kroenke one. Tyler says, would much rather Osimhen than Milik. Oh, Milik is a very, very good player. Osimhen's had a breakout season. But Milik, I think, is a more proven player. Well, how old's Milik? Yeah, Milik is 26, so Osimhen's only 20, so his age is on his side. But then 26 ain't old. 26 is a good age. I don't know, man. If it came down, I don't know. He said they're different types of strikers, but I think Milik's a more prolific goal scorer, although he's a lot different. We'd have to change our style up because he's not an Aubameyang type player where he relies on speed and that. He's more of a big, old-fashioned centre forward. Indanil says, "Hi Robbie, we need to sign Luiz for 1 more year. He will provide leadership for the likes of Saliba and Holding. Can't afford to lose him. He's been good under Arteta as well. He has. I'm not sure about can't afford to lose him though. I don't know about that. He's been a good team player. If he plays well from now to the end of the season, yeah. But there's other defenders out there we could get as well. But I hear what you're saying. But I'm not too sure if he's like can't afford to lose him. He's not the greatest centre back out there. You know what I mean? Like he can't be replaced. Raul says, forget Milik, go Lozano instead. Forget the Albanian defender. Buy Unai Nunes. Sell Bellerin. Get Cedric Aarons. If we can't get Partey, get Ibrahim Sangare. All right. So lots of suggestions there coming from Raul. Black Badger said, Luiz cost us the Olympiacos game. He has made mistakes. So, yeah, that's what I'll say. You say can't afford to, I'm not too sure if, I'd rate him at that high. But I could see why he's done well since Arteta's coming, but he has to keep that on now, from now till the end of the season. Ashatosh says, hello, Robbie. Axel Disasi is better than the Albanian kid. And we could get him for 12 to 14 million. He played a big part in Europe's top defensive team records. Let's get this. HK Football, Ralph says, Holding or Chambers? Oh, well, listen, currently, you'd have to go Chambers. You know what I mean? Holding's really, his performances have really dropped. He needs to impose himself more in games, but a lot of that's been down to the fact that he's been out injured for so long. Again, another guy that maybe we could see a bit more of between now and the end of the season, because I really do feel that Arsenal are going to have to use their squad a lot because of fitness, and he is back to full fitness now. So maybe Rob Holding could come in and put in a really good performance from now to the end of the season. Mike says, I think agents are unappreciated, and the amount of work they do that assist players to top clubs and sign big contracts is testament to the work they do. They deserve to be paid well. Yeah, they do. They do. And I've got a couple of friends who are agents, and they do deserve to be paid well, because it's all about them negotiating great contracts for their clients. They're not an Arsenal supporter. They don't support Tottenham, Chelsea, or whatever. And even if they do, I mean, Kia Jarapchin is an Arsenal supporter, but his first thing is to his client. But, and I'd say a big but, there are a lot of agents that take big fees out of football clubs, more than what they should be getting in my, what happened to like 20% or something? Then 6 million, we paid 8 million for Luiz, and then we paid a further 6 million to the agent. What is he going to play? I think that's ridiculous. I really do think that is. Rashad says, Robbie, do you think that our attack is too weak when it comes to headers, aerials, and physical presence? Who do you think can cure that? We do miss a plan B, which Giroud used to be a plan B. In certain games he can come on, he can hold up the ball, he's big and strong, good in the air. We don't really have that striker now. Lacazette's good at holding the ball up, has good strength, but we do kind of lack that physical presence, and we could do that as an option. We don't really score a lot of goals header-wise. I mean, Martinelli scored a couple of headers, to be fair. I think I remember Aubameyang scoring one, but not as many as when you've got that big target man up front. So maybe that would be an option to have a player like that off the bench. All of our strikers are very similar. So, yeah, maybe that could be an option. Apostolis says Milik is a Giroud number 2. Well, Giroud didn't do too bad, and I think Milik scores more goals though. He's a more prolific goal scorer than Olivier Giroud. So I wouldn't say. I'd say it's a hard one because, you know, Giroud's a World Cup winner, but Milik is a very potent striker. Crazy Christian 1 says, "Hi Robbie, love watching your videos. There is a citywide lockdown in Los Angeles." Now I don't know if is that the coronavirus or is that now the whole rioting that's going on over there in America. It's as if the coronavirus weren't bad enough. Now with this to add on top of it over there in America, it's really tough times for those guys over there. Let's hope they can get through it. Only the two things, both things, the coronavirus and this whole problem of racism, can only be resolved by people working together. Yeah? When you've got two sides opposing each other, as I see in America, as I see sometimes over here, you know, how are you going to resolve a problem? People got to come together to discuss this properly, to discuss how we stop these things from happening. Just like the coronavirus. No one country is going to solve it on its own. It's going to take an effort where you got to work even sometimes with your enemy. So let's hope we can, you know, we can really get things sorted. Both things are terrible right now. Jude says, "All right, Robbie, what are your plans for your AFTV football team?" Well, listen, once we can start playing football again, grassroots football, we will be back. You know, just like everybody else, we've just been sticking to the rules that are out there. But once it's good to come back, we will be back. Don't worry about that. Got a couple of games lined up as well for when we do come back. Abishanek says, "I think we are not going to get a new centre-back until we get rid of some of them. We have too many centre-backs, and of course, there are some centre-backs that would have to leave, really." Abe says, "If we lose either Aubameyang or Lacazette, we should get Mitrovic from Fulham." Aubameyang or Laka can play as a striker with Mitrovic as backup, with Saka or Martinelli playing on the left wing. I remember I suggested Mitrovic, I think it was last season, and I got absolutely slated. Mitrovic. But I was saying that sort of same thing as well, that he could be an option, you know, because he's a different type of player. He's good, I rate him. But we're not going to buy another striker, so I wouldn't even entertain that right now. Joey AFC Largy says, "Morning, Robbie. Is there any news on Bellerin today? I heard that he might be leaving. What do you think about that? And I would like him to stay, really. But I do like Cedric. So would it be so bad if he leaves?" There's so many conflicting rumours on the Bellerin thing. There's rumours that he's saying that he wants to see what Arsenal are going to do before he leaves, before he decides to stay. There's rumours that, you know, he wants to be captain. Then there's another rumour that he wants to go and play abroad. Listen, at the end of the day, from what I can see, he's committed to Arsenal Football Club. And again, let's see what he does from now till the end of the season. He's just coming back off of injury. We've got to give these guys a chance to fully recover and then see what they can do. He's got competition now with Cedric. You know, Cedric is back to fitness. And if Cedric comes in and starts putting in very good performances, you know, he's going to have to really put it in, and that's only good for the team. Matthew Dwison says, "Any tips on starting a YouTube football team with only a small following?" It's going to be hard work, but go for it, bro. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter that you've only got a small following. Everybody's got to start from somewhere. Everybody's got to start small. We started small. We started from zero, just like everybody else who comes onto YouTube starts from zero. Nobody knew who we were, so go for it, bro. Go for it. Gonna do the last couple. Backstop 12 says, "Hello, Robbie. Marcus Thuram is a quality player. Hopefully, he wouldn't be a Xhaka." Xhaka, of course, also played for Borussia Mönchengladbach. And I think Moussa Dembele is a class player, but isn't Aubameyang's level. What are your thoughts on Dembele? I like Dembele. I really do like Dembele. I remember when he played against us in the Emirates Cup, I was really impressed by him. I didn't realise he was that quick. and I didn't realize he was that strong. So I really liked him, and he scores goals as well. So if Aubameyang left, and that's the caliber of player that came in to replace him, he's still very young as well, I think I'd be happy with that. But my first thing is keep Aubameyang. Right, and let's get the last one for the day. Somebody haven't been on yet. It's got a couple of them. Oh, where's that guy? Yeah, man, I'll tell you, I'd love to get with you guys there one day, see how quickly these comments just whiz past me. Vincent says, hello, Rob. Help me give a shout out to Biafran people, the honored and remembered over 5 million children, women and youth that were starved to death between 1967 and 70 in the civil war that was sponsored by Britain. Okay, so I've just done that one for you, Vincent, and we're going to get one last one in, and this one's from Leo. He says, I actually don't rate Milik, keep Aubameyang instead. Thanks for that. Don't forget, we'll be back tonight with AFTV News Daily. We're gearing up at the moment for the start of the football season. It's going to be kind of probably a little bit more changed program to our programs that we're going to have coming up from next week as we start to look forward to the football season returning. 2 and a bit weeks now until Arsenal kick it all off against Manchester City. Looking forward to it.